Hello there again, and welcome to Everyday Ordinary Life with Mark. It is great to have you along with me in this journey of life, specifically the journey of life devoted to the service of God. And I want to remind you in the onset of today's time together that we're talking about everyday life, no matter who you are, what your vocation is, where you live, your background, your current situation. All of us are to live for God every single day of our lives. So as we talk about loving God in every aspect of our lives, I want to talk about a verse that my wife and many other women will be talking about coming up in the Women's Summit that Rabbit Creek, as well as other churches, are going to be joined together at Victory Bible Camp. 100 plus women gathering together to worship God, to study God's Word, to have fellowship time together. And the theme for this year is to worship God with your whole life. Worship God with your whole life. You can imagine why I like that theme a lot, because as we talk about all the time on this time together, we're talking about everyday ordinary life. Let me remind you that verse in Romans 12, chapter 1, in the Message version says, so here's what I want you to do. God helping you take your everyday ordinary life. You're sleeping, you're eating, you're going to work, you're walking around life, and you place it before God as an offering. The offering and the placing before God is an act of worship. And this is what the women are going to be focusing on. Now, that obviously is not something just for women. This is for men as well. And so men and women, listen please. It's important for us to worship God with our entire lives. And we cannot talk about this too much, because what this means is whether you are a pastor, whether you are a teacher, whether you are a stay-at-home parent, whether you are a lawyer, whether you are a restaurant worker, and no matter what field you're in and what life stage you're in, you can take those responsibilities you have and those relationships you have and use them in a worshipful way. How does that work out? Let me give you a couple examples. One is, let's take the marriage relationship. Husbands, I'll talk to you because that's what I am. I know husbands. I know husbanding, if you will, more than being a wife. So as a husband, we need to wake up each day and say, as part of my responsibility as a son of God, I need to love my wife in a God-honoring way. And so when I love my wife in a God-honoring way, I'm not only focusing on loving my wife, I'm loving my wife because I want to honor God. And every time you honor God, that's worshiping God. Another way you worship God, when you go to work, and it's particularly on a day you may not want to be there, or your employer has offered you or assigned you an assignment that isn't necessarily your favorite. When you go in and say, I'm going to do my best, I am going to honor God in this task, then that is worshiping God with that task in your workplace. And the people around you will notice that. We all notice the mentality of people around us and the heart of people around us. And that is especially true when we're talking about working around people who say, I love Jesus. We need to see in our lives that our love for Jesus is penetrating every aspect of our lives. So let this be just a reminder of the theme that we talk about all the time here, that you need to worship God with your whole life. Another way to put that is you need to place before God everything that you do. You're sleeping, you're eating, you're going to work, you're walking around life as an offering before your Creator and your mighty God. So let's get out there and worship God with our whole lives.